Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new FansProject Lost Exo-Realm LER-05 Comera, which hopefully I'm saying that right. Which, as far as I know, is a completely unique character and toy for them. For the package, you got a really cool image of her, and yes, this is a female character in her actual robot mode. The side features her dino mode, which, as you can see, is basically a velociraptor. The opposite side of the package has a nice image of her just standing there in terms of the toy form, and then the back, you got a couple different product shots. It does have a opening front section with a wire image of the front and back of her, as well as her weapons, and then you have an open clamshell that fully showcases the figure, as well as all of her accessories. Like I said, as far as I know, I don't think that this is based on anything specifically. It's just their unique take on a unique character, I guess. But for the packaging on her, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get her out here and see how cool she actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Comera open up and out of her packaging, and honestly, I'm really very happy with how this figure turned out. There's a lot of elements in here that really do nicely capture that Velociraptor sort of look and feel. There are some aspects that I do wish were improved upon, but in general, I really like how this figure turned out. Now coming in to take a closer look at it, one aspect that you're seeing is it definitely has a very skeletal or thin look to it. Now that doesn't bother me really all that much because as a robotic dinosaur, I don't necessarily expect it to have the same bulk that, flesh and bone would kind of give to something. This does have a, like I said, more skeletal sort of look. But one aspect that I do wish was a little bit bigger would be the tail here. As you can see, it's not bad by any stretch. It's pretty decent. But I just wish that it was maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit bigger, in terms of the thickness. Not much, like maybe like that, a little tiny bit, and then maybe have it come down to about here. But all in all, really very cool looking. Very nice paint detail throughout the entire thing. You got this nice, very dark gray. You got a lot of red bits. You got some blue bits kind of hidden in there, like on the what will be the thighs. You got a little blue bit right there. Great detail in the head area. Nice gold paint with some red eyes. You got some nice gray teeth in here. Very raptor looking. I love the way that head looks. The arms here, I think, could be a little bit better. As it is, I like keeping them tucked in here at the shoulder section and then kind of keeping them bent like that just to keep the arms a little bit smaller looking. As they are, it's not bad. Raptors did have fairly long forearms, I guess, and I think that this is a really good look for what a lot of people think of when they think of a raptor, especially when you come down here to the legs. You got, like I said, you got the little bit thinner legs. Maybe if there was a way to bulk up the thighs, that would have been a little bit nice, but you do have those very cool raptor-esque sort of claws down here. I love the way that is. You can see that the tail does have a kind of foilish chrome sort of look to it. Looking really close into the detail, you can see there's a bit of a foil. It's not a, completely smooth, glossy chrome. It does have, like I said, that little foil texture, which I think looks pretty good. And then you got the nice little red bit right here at the end of the tail. So now the articulation isn't too bad. One aspect that I do wish was improved, you got obviously the mouth that can open up, and I love that. You get a real cool raptor sort of look for it. But unfortunately, you have a neck joint right here that, it's kind of like a double neck joint, so you get a decent range of motion there. And then you have another joint right below that, right down here, that just moves forward and back. There is no rotation and there's not another neck joint. I do wish you could rotate it. That's one part that I really think would help this figure. Part of the transformation, though, is what is limiting that rotation. This entire neck section all the way through the head actually splits apart, so it probably was harder to get a rotation in there, but I would have loved to have seen that. You got a nice ball joint here at the shoulder. You got a nice hinge joint at this elbow. These little pieces right down here, they actually rotate as part of the transformation, so you can rotate these around, and then down here at the lower section, you can actually hinge that forward and back. So you get a nice range of motion there, but when you move it around a little bit too much, you can obviously see the robot's hands right down there. So that can break the illusion a little bit and doesn't hide all that well. But you got some fairly nice soft ratchet joints here at the thigh section. They also can move in and out. You can hear a little bit harder of a ratchet joint. She can rotate here at the thigh itself on a nice ratchet joint, which is fairly unusual. You actually have 2 joints here for the knee, but for a more aesthetic kind of look, it looks a lot better if you leave this little section here on the top part of the thigh and then bend the lower sections. But when you straighten it out, you can see that you got the 2 joints right there. I just think that aesthetically, it looks a little bit better if you keep it like that. You come down here to the tail. It doesn't do anything at this lower section. This is the transformation joint, so it will hinge, but not right now. And then you got a rotation right here that flexes forward and back, and then you have another one at this point, so you get a pretty good flexible section right there. And then you also have another little flexible section down here at the tip. This doesn't do anything, but all in all, really a very cool look for the figure. You do have to balance it a little bit to get her to stand fairly well. Now for a size comparison, I don't know what I did with all my Jurassic Park Velociraptors, but here's a Dilophosaurus. So if you want a comparison, you can have, you know, something like that, I guess. It really... that, or let's have a T-Rex. I'll bring out a T-Rex, and you can have a battle of the little dinosaurs or something. Okay, I'm playing with my toys now, so let's not do that anymore, boys and girls. That's bad. I'm a grown man playing with toys. But for the size, you can basically see what's going on. Now, for the transformation, it's actually really very, very simple. She does come with a whole bunch of other accessories. I should have brought this out. 2 of her guns here actually can peg to the bottom of her feet and create like a little display. If I can get that in there, you just peg that there and you peg that there. So you can have a display like that. I mean, I don't really know why you would need that, because, I mean, she does actually stand fairly well just by herself, but they do slide back and then detach. Then you got 2 massive guns, which we'll take a look at here in a little bit. You get 2 little smaller guns. Both of these are identical, just like the large ones. And then you do get, and I forgot to open it, a little sword. So we're going to take it out of the little baggie. You get a baggie with it, and then you get this really cool sword here with a fairly nice orangish translucent blade, nice handle and everything. You got the little peg right here that you could probably peg in various areas, but we'll take a look at all these accessories here in a bit. But for a transformation, first what you want to do is very simply straighten out the legs. Just bring those all the way down, just like so. Take these lower feet section, you rotate that all the way around, and then you take the back section, lift that up. This little piece here then comes out, and that creates a little bit of a heel spur. Do that on this side as well. Rotate at the ankle, fold that all the way up, bring that back. Now you have her legs done. Just kind of fiddle with that, and we'll get that all situated here in a little bit. Take the tail section. This detaches. You got a nice little peg that plugs into her butt right there. It's very awkward. And now the instructions actually have you split this, which I will do on here, but this part here I'll show you I don't particularly like. Take these little side pieces. And these get a little bit stiff when they tab in here, so just flex that out. You got to get that out of the little section. There you go. Bring that down, and then do that on this side as well. Fold that down. Now this part right here, I'm not a big fan of. This little crotch section. You can see you got a part that folds down here, and then you got these little pieces. I'm going to use this to wedge it. I haven't been able to actually... There you go. It's just very small, and there's not a lot of finger space in here, but you just bring these around, and again, you don't have a lot of space here to get your finger in there to like rotate these around. So bring that around, and then you tuck this up and close that gap like that. Go around here to the arms, bring these down just like so. Now the instructions also, I'm going to show you how to do the instructions a particular way. You remove these, and then you take this section and then spin this all the way around, and then on the underside of our forearm is a little notch that this little tab is going to lock into. So bring that down there, bring that down like so, rotate the little hand, just set that off to the side for right now. So you do have a little bit of parts forming, but you don't necessarily have to, and like I said, I'll show that here in a bit. Rotate this around, bring this up, that will lock underneath the forearm. Bring that, rotate our hands around these little pieces here. Now you can flex these around and down, kind of creates like a split tail sort of thing. You can do something like that, and then come around here to the head, split this. Very sharp teeth, so be careful when you're splitting these. Ow! Ow! You hurt. You make me mad because you hurt. Oh, separate this, bring this whole thing back, and then pull this all the way apart, just like so. And then you got a separate hinge right here, so make sure you rotate that around and then rotate that around. Then close the mouth just like that, and then rotate her head around, bring that around like that. Angle this, actually make sure you get this whole section down, bend that all the way down. There's another little joint. This little section right here has another little joint, so bring that all the way down. You can leave it like this. I guess it's personal preference if you want to have it down like that or around like that. Depends on how you really want it. Straighten out the head. Bring that around. Now again, like I said, the instructions have you do it this way, where you take these little pieces, and now you got little posts on the inside of the shoulder that these will lock into, and then you fold that down over the shoulder. Just kind of completes the look, I suppose. I'll play with that and show you that here in a little bit. But when you're done, there you have Comera in her robot mode. And again, really very cool and unique looking figure that I think has a lot of overall just character to the look. Oh, and yes, as I mentioned, this is a female figure, so there is one final step, and that is to take these and rotate these around. And there you have the completed look for her. Now, I mean, a lot of people are complaining about the transformation. It doesn't bother me really all that much how simple it is. I think there are something that they could have done better, such as making the hands hide in the beast mode, but all in all, I think it works fairly well. Those same really nice colors come through very vibrantly. I really like the head sculpt and the head detail in here. Real nice blue paint in the eyes. Now, she actually does have a twin sister they're kind of marketing as, which is a Pachycephalosaurus, which the only thing that I'm really seeing different between that figure and this one is the head is different. That's the dinosaur with the big giant bone dome on the head that, would put the head down and then ram things. But I still think that the figure here looks really very good. The paint detail, like I said, is very nice. The plastic quality is very solid. I'm still not a fan of what they do around here. Like I said, it's just a little bit too small and my fingers are too big to get in there, so it makes it a little bit uncomfortable. But the overall look, I think, is pretty cool. Now, personally, what I like to do is keep the dino head attached. It's not the official transformation by any stretch, but I like keeping it connected like so, and then spreading the tail out a little bit more, and then putting the head down towards the back. I think that just looks a little bit better. And then obviously, like I was talking about, these pieces here, you do have to remove for the transformation to get the official look, but I think that you can take these and leave them attached and kind of leave them maybe up like that or something along those lines. So there are different things that you can do to make her look better. And for me, I think that this looks pretty cool. I'm fairly happy with it in terms of her being a Dinobot sort of character. It matches a little bit more to have the dino head kind of go down there on the back. As I was talking about, she does come with some massive guns. All these joints being very solid. She holds them very well. You can see you can get that gun in there very nicely. These are a little bit ridiculous, to be totally honest. I'm not a big fan of the big giant ones. The smaller ones obviously work a little bit better, but I think that the sword works much nicer. It just fits the character. I think a little bit more, gives her a little bit more of a kind of dynamic look, I guess, but all in all, I think that that's probably the coolest look for her. Now, for her articulation, it is basically the exact same that you had in the Dino mode. The head is on this ball joint, so you get a nice, well, is that a ball joint? Yeah, that's a ball joint. And then you also have a little hinge right here that you can flex it up and down. As I talked about, you got the ball jointed shoulders. You have the hinge here for the elbow. The robot wrists now do rotate, and they also hinge in and out very nicely. She does rotate at the waist, so spins but there is a lot of junk obviously now back here because of what's going on. So you have to move that out to kind of facilitate that. The hips still on that ratchet joint, in and out, forward and back. These little pieces here, I mean, there's really not much of a point to these little tiny pieces because leaving them down like that, you still get a full range of motion. So, I don't know. I think that this could have been done a little bit better. She does rotate at the upper part of the thigh, as I talked about. She does have the 2 joints here at the knee. And then coming down to the ankles, those are on ball joints, so you can pivot that side to side, in and out. You can rotate that. This little back section here, well, you got the little front section. You can pivot the toe forward and back a little, and then obviously the little heel here you can manipulate. But all in all, I mean, I really do like the figure. As I said, you know, people complain about the simplicity of it, and people complain about simple transformations just in general, but I think it works for her. I mean, I don't think that they, you know, over-engineered her or anything like that. I think there's definitely aspects that they could have done a little bit better, but all in all, I'm happy with how she turned out, and I think price-wise, it's a fairly good value. You get all these accessories like I was talking about. You get a really pretty solid robot that is a little bit bigger than deluxe size. Bringing in a Voyager class Titans Return figure. Here you have next to Optimus Prime. So she's in between the size of a deluxe and a Voyager. And as a Velociraptor, they're fairly small just in general. So if you wanted to expand your Dinobot collection, I think that she would fit very well in it. Now, transformation back, what you want to do is, obviously, if you have these pieces here, you're going to have to detach them from there or whatever, but just bring the hands around, you tuck those up, you kind of just hide those, and just fiddle with those here in a little bit. So, spin this around. I actually positioned these on here wrong when I put them on, so just kind of do that. There you go. Okay, get that around. Rotate her little chest pieces around, take the head, spin that around at the neck, just like so. Bring the dino head up. Now pivot that back a little bit. You got little tabs on the sides here that slot in between little shoulder sections. So just bring this up on that hinge and then push that down and then lock that in. There you go. And then you can pivot the head up and fill in that gap a little bit more nicely. Come around here to the tail. Just kind of get that out of the way. Bring that up and you can tab all those pieces together. Bring these sections. We got to do this. And like I said, I mean, honestly, I don't think you really need to do it, to be totally honest. And I'm probably not going to. I'm just going to avoid that piece altogether. So bringing that up and get that locked up there. I'm just going to do that because you don't really need it, honestly. Lift this up. I'm not a big fan of the crotch section, so we're just going to fiddle with that. Bring this back. You do have the hole in her butt, which is very awkward, and then you just rotate this down, and you got that little post there that plugs in there, so just give that a nice little line up, and then you put that in there just like so. Bring these forward. Bring that up and around. Then you bring these down, rotate that around, pivot that back. Now, this is, it can't go all the way up like that. I actually like leaving that down. There's a bit of friction right there, so it holds fairly decently and gives it a bigger foot to actually stand on. It makes it a little bit more solid and a sturdy piece as well. So bring that down, fold that just like that, and then you literally just manipulate everything, kind of get it back to where it should look. Open up the mouth, make it dynamic looking, just like that. And there you have a Comera back in the Velociraptor form. But as I said, I actually do enjoy this figure. I give FansProject a lot of credit for having the guts to do something that's outside the box. A lot of third-party companies don't really like doing things that are their own thing, but I think this one turned out fairly well. There are aspects that I do think could have been done a little bit better, such as the legs here. I think they could have been better served if they were bulked up a little bit. Same thing with the tail. And then the way that the hands just kind of hang out here, it does look a little bit awkward. And as I said, if you're going to have an expanded Dinobot collection, I really do think that she'll look good in it. So all that being said, if Comera is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, she is available at Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS, PS, where you can check out availability on her, as well as the rest of the wide range of FansProject figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please hit that thumbs up button. It goes a long way towards helping me out, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you never miss out on a future review of mine. Or if you're already subscribed, be sure to click on that little bell right underneath this video, and double check your settings to make sure that they're set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, be excellent to each other.